Yeah.
So Robin and I booked a trip to Mexico at the end of April. So I don't even know if we're going to go. We did buy travel insurance.
You said Mexico?
Yes, we're going to Mexico.
You said you're never going back to Mexico.
I know. What is that about?
Hey, you know what, dude? This was absolutely 110% filling up the love tank for Robin. Just trying to support her needs. That's all this is. I can't get kicked off the cast.
That's exactly what it is right there.
I can't get kicked off my relationship.
Dude, that was pretty close.
Was it pretty close?
That's probably
even being
the
sick?
only good impression you do. One of yourself.
Thank God.
Let's hit on this really quickly. I want to talk mindset. I feel like it's very easy for us to live in the negative, or it was social media and all the shit that goes on today. And I say this just because I woke up this morning and I had a terrible morning. Some things didn't go my way. Some stuff I thought was going to happen didn't happen. I was supposed to meet someone here at the studio to get the Off-White 5s, but now I don't think even he was here to get me to get the Off-White 5s. So, it worked out. But still, man, I had a bunch of things that just weren't going right. Supreme drop, all that shit.
That definitely wasn't going right at first.
Yeah, so there was a bunch of circumstances out of my control this morning.
Okay.
And I couldn't help but just get frustrated.
Pissed off.
And then more and more frustrated as each event occurred on top of the other. And then a boil over, and then just pissed off. Like, damn, I'm about to have a bad show. I'm about to have a bad day. Like, into this mindset. And, after I took some deep breaths and chilled for a few minutes, smoked some weed and chilled out, it's not that deep. It's really not that deep. But for me, sometimes it is so hard to get out of a negative mindset. And not when from someone else, but when I put myself there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't really feel like I can get put in a negative mindset too much by someone else, but by myself.
It's because you're your worst critic. It's so much easier to just beat the hell out of yourself. For sure. I think that's part of it.
The mind is so powerful, and it can go either way. It can be good or bad. It can be it can enhance everything for you, or it can really take you down a path that is very bad. And I struggle with that balance, trying to eliminate the negativity and just stay with the positive. How do you guys do that? Or you guys struggle with that as well?
For me, I'm kind of a middleman, right? In terms of I always just try to stay in the middle with everything. And that is, in theory, what creates and keeps balance, right? Sustainable balance for me, because if you're always one-sided, then it's everything's going to be too good and you're just kind of waiting for that negative thing to happen and just throw you off. Or you can be negative all the time and just be a shithead and suck at your relationship, suck at not traveling because you don't want to go to Mexico, and you don't want to go to Mexico, and you say you don't want to go to Mexico yet again. But at some point, you just have to open up your mind and say, you know what? I'm going to create my own way and not my own demise. And it's almost telling yourself to make these decisions and stand by them and commitments. I'm not a very committed kind of guy, not in terms of relationship stuff like that. With career, I'll always commit, and that's what kept me in the retail sales game for way too long. No doubt about it. Now, it was great. I learned a lot of great things, but I don't want to commit to things because I know there's disappointment that lies and lingers right around the corner. So for me to commit everything into it, like for instance, this trip, coronavirus, disappointing Robin somehow, not enjoying Mexico, always looking over my shoulder for somebody trying to sell me drugs, trying to sell me trinkets, but I'm always just kind of waiting for that negative thing to just pop me in the jaw. You know what I mean? So it's like I just walk around kind of dukes up. And that's stressful, dude. That's a lot of weight to carry. So for me, I just try to say, you know what, man, I'm not going to get excited about Mexico, but I'm not also going to get pissed off about Mexico. Let's just kind of roll the dice and see what happens. But when you consistently roll the dice in life, it's hard to get further in life because you're always just kind of right in the middle. I'm not committing to get into these ATMs and start my ATM business. I'm not going to start this vending machine business because this can happen, this can happen. Buy a vending machine. Find somewhere to put it. You know what I mean? So I think if you're living kind of in that mindset of not committing to certain things, I think it's hard to get somewhere in life. That's kind of where I'm at and what I've been thinking about.
I'm not so much like you where I'm walking around waiting for bad shit to happen, but when bad shit does happen, I'm not very good at just looking at it as that's life. Bad shit just happens to everyone. I'm taking it personal. I'm like, oh man, I'm in a hurry this morning. Why is this shit happening today? Man, they're doing this to me. They're doing this to me today. Why are they doing?
You're that guy who throws up his hands. Why?
Who is they?
What the hell?
Nobody's doing anything to you, bro. Nobody is they. And it's so funny when you step outside yourself and you look at it. And now I'm just looking back at the morning. I'm like, man, I could have just let this shit crush my whole day. Yeah. And I could have just let it ruin my whole mood, ruin my whole attitude. I could have came in here and spawned that shit onto you guys, whatever. And it just didn't need to be that way. And I'm glad I didn't make it that way. But there are definitely times and days where I have done that.
Right.
And so that's kind of what I'm wondering. And that's kind of the question I pose to you guys and people in the chat, man, is how do you react do you take shit personal when it goes bad? Do you take it like, why is it happening to you directly? Or are you better, or have you gotten better at time, or what's helped you get better with that? Is it just cognitively thinking about it in the moment? Whether you're getting frustrated by your significant other, or it's something that is just at your car didn't start in the morning. It's the shit that's out of your control. You know, what do you do? What about you, Jalal?
I don't know. I'm sitting here trying to think about, like,
do you ever get that though? You don't strike me as a guy, because I'm a hard on the sleeve, insanely passionate person. You see me, you know, all the time. You are not that way, Jalal. You're very reserved. You process the shit really methodically, and it seems like cerebral, and you're just kind of in the corner, like picking your spots, you know, and you're very reserved. So I don't know what that curtain is like as far as peeling it back and looking at your soul and seeing how you react to situations. Yeah.
I don't really hold on to anything. I don't take things personally. I think it just comes down to having a limited amount of energy to expend on things. And if I spend too much time on something that I can't change, something that someone else did, I feel like somebody did me wrong or whatever, like, I can't do anything about it. So for me to expend energy on it when I could be doing something else, like, you've seen it kind of in the moment when something happens, I'll take a second and I'll just be like, all right, next, like, we just got to move on, because there's nothing we can do about it. There's no point in putting more energy into it. And the sooner you start getting to a solution, the sooner you can, you know, get out of that situation. So that's really just how I look at it. I don't know where that comes from, but
just to catch up on the chat really quickly, neighborhood, one thing I avoid is comparing my life to someone else, and also focus on what you have in life rather than what you don't have. Great comment. Great comment.
That's a very underrated statement there.
I agree.
Because you can think that you're not moving fast enough because you're looking at somebody else's progress. And you can almost self-sabotage your own situation, because it's like your guys' situations are not the same. Your paths are not the same. You know, Drake might have hit at, 23, he might have been a millionaire. That doesn't mean you got to be a millionaire at 23. Like, you have a different path, you have a different purpose. If you realign your mind to just kind of be okay with what your purpose is and what success is in your mind or in your situation, you can avoid a lot of that disappointment.
That's very deep, because I didn't get that from that. You know what I got from that? It's like, hey, get the Pine Greens, and like that, because you can't get the Travis Scott SBs. So love what you can have versus not be distraught about what you can't have.
Or focus.
That's what I got.
Focus
really
on
like
what
that.
you do have versus what you don't.
Oh, see, I guess it's just different perspectives.
I really like that. I was going to add to what Jalal said, but I like totally took me off my game. He just caught me with a left real quick. Sneaker.
Good,
y'all need to read this book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Great read, changed my mindset. I've heard about that book, Marco. It gives you the tools to choose what to give a fuck about.
Yeah.
Haven't read a book in 20 years.
Same.
And just the title makes me want to read that, Marco. That's from T-Mobile.
Wow.
Look at that. He's feeling the same way you're feeling. So there you go. Some good comments on the chat and that, man. Yeah, I think it's always good to circle back to that every few months and have that combo, and kind of, you can't talk about mental health too much, man. You can't, all that stuff is important. We're all going through our own little struggles, our own little battles. We're all going through our own shit. If you got somebody that can relate in here, maybe help you out with some shit because they've already been through it, that's helpful. And that's what we're trying to do over here.